Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted to talk about the RWBY Volume 6 trailer that came out just the other day, give a little review on it, analysis, and some speculations of what may be to come in Volume 6. So sit back, relax, hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So starting from the beginning here, you could definitely tell with this forest scene with a bit of snow and the landscape itself, the Maya engine's definitely being pushed. You can definitely tell they're trying to work really hard on making the scenery here look very well. And I have to say, I think it looks good. The other time that I thought that it looked at least close to this good for the Maya engine was definitely in the Yang fight with the bandits in Volume 5. I think the trees and I think the scenery looked better than it had previously for what they had been going with. But this time around, it looks pretty good, actually. It looks better. But this is going to be probably an unpopular decision. I'm still more of a fan of the poser look. I think Volume 3 had the best look personally, and I know that's probably a very unpopular decision there, but that's just my opinion on how I liked how things were looking. But for Maya, this looks very good. Now, to say that everything is going to look this good, maybe not. Maybe it'll still look good, but not this good right here that the beginning sequence really gave us. But hey, who's to say? Could be just as good all around. Now, of course, when you hear the music start up and you start to see things, because you not just see the scenery, but once the scenery starts to shift, once it starts to change, we then get a glimpse more of Team RWBY and their entire group. And when we see the entire group here, of course, they're walking along. We see Crow in the lead, then RWBY, then Blake, then Weiss, then Yang, the old woman on Yang's motorcycle, and then, of course, Oscar. Now, while we see them walking along, we hear Salem narrating. Now, of course, I assume that she is actually talking to Emerald right here at this point. Either Emerald or to everyone in general, which would make sense. Because I can see that Salem's faction would regroup after this, and she would probably be talking to everyone in general, which I think would be a very good way to see it, considering that they're obviously going to be fighting over the relic, and Salem's going to try to get the relic in her possession. Now, the big thing that sparks interest here, though, is what Salem is saying. And as she states, it's important not to lose sight of what drives us. Love, justice, and reverence. But the moment you put your desires before my own, they will be lost to you. This isn't a threat. This is simply the truth. Now, when you think about those words, that is something that is actually a good point that Salem is trying to throw out there, because the entire objective is the most important part. I mean, yes, of course, every character is going to have their own dreams, goals, and ambitions, but at the very same time, Salem's really is above all, because she is the one who formed them together, and she is the one with the plan. So, I don't really have anything against what she said here. She's simply making a point. And it shows that if her ambitions are met, if her goals are achieved, then everybody can live the way they want, realistically. Now, of course, we do see a lot in this. We see what seems like the group is having troubles. It seems like if you look at Blake and you look at Weiss, there seems to be an issue between the two characters. And, of course, you have the old woman who's sitting on the bike, and then you have Yang who's pushing it, which, alright, somehow she got that one off the train after it crashes, I'm assuming, because if you look at the trailer, it seems like it's crashed, but I'll get to that in a moment. And it seems like the relic has been shrunk. That's weird, because it was bigger than that. Is there a way for it to be travel size? Does it come in kid size? I don't understand this. A little inconsistent there. Very strange, because it was bigger than that at the end of Volume 5, and now here it is smaller. I don't get it. That's a weird thing to me. It's very strange. Unless they explain that, that's weird to me. It stands out to me. But it seems like in this scene by itself, it seems that there are some issues, that there may be some problems amongst the group. And if you notice, Team Juniper is not there. Now, of course, another scene we see after that is with Adam murdering everyone in the throne room. Yeah, Adam, just kill everybody. You know, that's gonna definitely solve all your problems. Spoiler alert, it's really not. And what I thought about this moment when I saw Adam come in here, I kind of thought to myself, oh yeah, I've got a song for Adam right here that really resonates with his character. All the bodies hit the ground and go boom because of Adam's gloom and doom. That really doesn't suit him, just like how why is his mask still on? I didn't understand that. It's inconsistent considering what's the point of taking off his mask and teasing that if his mask is going to be back on again. See, that's kind of weird, and it's inconsistent to his character short, considering that he threw his mask off. And then, of course, he walks away. Yeah, I have a question here then. So, where did he get the mask? Did he just go into another room of his and just take another one? I don't really understand it. And I don't get why they would just tease it in the character short to just then have him with his mask on again. I find that to be a problem. I don't like that they did that because it's inconsistent and the tease just didn't feel right at that point. Why would you tease that in a character short and then make him wear his mask again? I don't really understand that. See, that's the part that bothered me personally. That's just me though. Now, of course, then looking at it, the rest of the scene seemed pretty alright. I mean, it shows you that his anger has gotten the best of him. He has obviously killed other Faunus because they don't trust him because he ran away from the fight. He's supposed to be their leader. So, that's understandable. I get those ideas there. And it shows you how far Adam has strayed away from the path of justice that he believed in at one time. So, there are some pros to this moment here. But, so that was pretty interesting. Now, of course, the next scene, there is a lot of speculation here, and I'm going to give my thoughts on this one. Of course, we saw somebody that's levitating, and people worshiping this levitating figure. Now, I don't find this to be a Faunus, because it seems like they are levitating off some magical force, is what it seems like. It seems like they can fly on their own. So either A, I think that this could be Ozpin in the past when he had his magical powers. Now that could be one thing. This could be like a former host that he had before he died within that body. And this could be before he gave his magic to the maidens. Or this could also just be the beginning of who he may have originally been. But then again, this could also be the present day. Now, if it were the present day, I would speculate that this is a maiden. And some people have speculated this to be Watts, but if you look at his lower half of his outfit, this does not look like the trousers that he wears or the shoes. So, personally, I don't think this is Watts, but that's just me. But if I had to say, this could also be a new antagonist character. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the RWBY board game. And if you have, that board game is supposed to introduce a new character, which is supposed to be an antagonist character. So that's another person that this could be. But that's just a speculation. So I either think it's a maiden or it's the new antagonist character. And if you notice, this is a recycled scenery right here. This is what they use with the Adam short. I don't dislike it, but I hope they don't just start using recycled scenery a lot. I wouldn't really enjoy that too much, and I hope they don't get used to doing that a whole lot. That's just me, because I would like to see different areas and things look different, and I'd like to see creativity. Now, of course, the next bit that we got was, while Salem was talking, you see Tyrian finally make his return, because he hasn't been in since Volume 4. Of course, he was brought up in Volume 5 about how he needed a new tail, and that Watts needed to give him a new one. So it's good to finally see Tyrian back. Now, we see him get right in Emerald's face, practically, and he rubs his head up against her weapon, which cuts the side of his cheek. Now, this obviously goes back to his character, the sadistic guy that we saw back in Volume 4. So, I'm glad to actually see Tyrian come back. I think that is a good thing, because we didn't even see him at all last volume. So, I'm glad to see him again, and I'm excited to see what his new tail is going to be like, because I want to see what Watts did to his tail, since he's the one who obviously gave him a new one. So, I'm excited to see that, and to see what Watts can do. It'll kind of give us an idea of what Watts works with a bit, or maybe even a little more into his own abilities. So I would actually like to see what happens with Tyrion's tail and how Watts redoes it. Now, of course, we get a montage of scenes, one of them where RWBY is using her semblance to go through the train, and I'm going to say this, I feel like in comparison to what her older semblance used to look like in volumes 1 and 2, it really feels like it's just a blur. It feels like the way they animate her semblance now is like a blob to me with the rose petals just coming off of it. And if you remember in Volume 2, during the food fight, it looked like, I guess, a spear or an arrow when it shot forward. I kind of like that better than it looking like a blob. And it's just kind of there to me. But that's just my opinion. And looking at it, team combo attacks are finally happening again, which we haven't seen those in a while. And it's better than them just teasing us with them, like they did in Volume 5. And we actually got a little glimpse of the team combo attacks. I like seeing Nora and Rin, and we did see Ruby and Weiss team up, just like she did with Nora in Volume 4, with her semblance to take out the Geist Grim, if you remember that, if you recall. So that's pretty interesting. So we kind of have an idea of the train fight, considering that we're going to see Manticore Grim actually fighting on the train. I think that'll be pretty cool to see, and it kind of reminds me of Solo, a Star Wars story, with the whole ice idea, you know, being in the Arctic. It kind of reminds me of that, kind of a wintry setting, so we're kind of seeing what looks like they're playing off of that or something. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see if the fight's good or not. I mean, maybe. Hopefully. We'll just have to see. But the next few scenes were something else. Obviously, we have what seems like the train has wrecked, and RWBY is looking at the relic. So, I'm going to say with how the fight goes, just by my own thoughts, the Grimm are going to derail the train, is what I'm thinking. And because it's going to get derailed, obviously everything's going to go all over the place. So, then RWBY's going to see the relic, and she's going to take it and try to protect it herself, considering that's their objective, is to take the relic to Atlas. So I think, in my personal opinion, that's what's going to happen there. And in the next scene, they're in a room. Oh, let's not have that again. Let's just have them adventure around, please. But if you notice in that scene, it seems like Yang is a bit upset with Blake. So maybe there's going to be tension between them in this volume, and I really hope so. I really hope they have a conflict between each other because of the issues that happened. Because they really need to sort it out. They really need to express Yang's feelings towards Blake. I really hope they do that. So, now, the next scene was of somebody talking to a woman who, if you pay attention to her shoulder, it looks like she has like some kind of scales or something on it. I don't know if she is a faunus or what exactly. But yeah, there's something going on with the woman sitting down. And there's a lot of speculation who this is. Personally, I think this may be Cinder. That's one of my thoughts as to who this may be, because Cinder has a cloak now from what the poster of Volume 6 showed us, but this could also be another character. And, if I had to say, by my personal thoughts, it could be Neo. And oh, believe me, I'd be happy to see her come back. But we just have to see what happens. I'm not saying it's Neo. I'm not saying it's not Neo. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But I think this is more than likely Cinder. So, then of course, we get a couple other scenes. One of them is Adam screaming after he's chopped up everybody in the throne room, as well as the throne. Yeah, he's doing fine. You can tell. He's screaming. Which, I have to say, that scream really was convincing to me. It was. I feel that his voice actor actually did a lot better right there. And that he actually really was convincing of an anger-filled scream. I was actually convinced that he seemed like a angry, tortured soul. I actually liked that. That performance was decent there. Now, the scene that really stands out to me, though, the one that sparked the most interest, was when Oscar actually was reaching out for what seems like the relic, and he is seeming to struggle. This, to me, looks like there's more of the struggle between Oscar and Ozpin and who's controlling the body. And I like that. I really am glad that we can see more of that. Now, Oscar, I'm not particularly fond of as a character, but I do like seeing them continuing with more of the struggle. And it seems more and more like Ozpin is demanding control. It's like he's trying to completely control him, which, of course, that's the point. But it seems more and more like he's becoming like, hey, let me have control. Let me have it, like a craving. And I like that. So hopefully we will see a bit of this struggle happen more. Now, but what it looks like to me is that maybe Oscar's gonna be gone sooner than later. Now, what I mean by that is he's going to cease to exist, and Ozpin's just going to take over. And it seems like the characters in the scene, Team RWBY, just seem very concerned, either frustrated, confused, or freaked out by what they're witnessing. And I like that. I like seeing that. That is a plus to me. I do like that, because it shows the suspicion and doubt towards Ozpin. Now, the next character I want to talk about was the old woman with the strange eyewear. Now, she reminds me a lot of Maz Kanata from The Force Awakens. I mean, seriously, they really look alike. She's just human and the other one's alien. Like, the characters look very similar to me. But, jokes aside, the thing about her is what I think she is. Now, I've heard several different theories here. One of them actually being that she may be a maiden, another one actually being that she's a silver-eyed warrior, or at least a former one, another one being a spirit from the relic. What I think she actually is, it's really more so between two things. If I had to speculate, and if I had to say, I'm going to say right now that she was a former silver-eyed warrior, and that something happened to her eyes, whether they had been gouged out, or something happened. Maybe she went blind, who knows. But the reason why I think this is because this could help with RWBY's arc. It could help maybe answer questions about the Silver-Eyed Warriors, which there's still Crow here and Ozpin, but who knows? Maybe she's someone that could help RWBY with that. I don't know. But that's the reason why I think that she's there. Could be that. She could be the Winter Maiden. That could be another thing. She could just have been an old woman who had maintained her state of being the Winter Maiden all these years. But I don't think that she's a spirit of the relic. I don't see why, if that were possible. I mean, it could be, but I don't really see that being a thing. But I think that she would serve some importance of the plot. Obviously, they wouldn't have kept her around or introduced her at all otherwise. So, she has some significance, some importance, and we'll just have to wait and see what her importance is. But if I had to say, I think she's a Silver-Eyed Warrior, or at least a former Silver-Eyed Warrior, personally. And then, of course, you have the Salem scene, and if you pay attention, she is in her meeting room, and the table is missing, chairs are overthrown, and she's furious, and then Oscar screams. And you constantly see things black out, and then it pans over to the scene with Team RWBY and Crow, and Blake asks RWBY what the plan was. And obviously, it's to not let anyone else die. Now, some people have let this line really get to them because, thinking of let no one else die, they immediately think somebody may have died. Well, I think that if anyone had already died by now, I think there would have been a much more frightened and emotional response to that line than what we got right here, and I think the characters would all be acting a lot differently than they are. So I think that this is just them trying to fight to save the people on the train. So there's one more thing that's come to mind, is that what if the train crashes or something of that sort? Because we know that it seems Juniper gets separated from the group. So what if one half of the train also could just disconnect due to Crow's misfortune? I don't think anybody's thought about that, since Crow is fighting with everyone, and misfortune could go haywire. You know, that could be a possibility there, now that I think about it. But, you know, there's so many things to think about here with this. So, I'll give my overall thoughts on this whole thing now. So, overall, I think that this trailer, it was alright, but I feel like it was kind of like your typical movie trailer in a sense. As to where, if you go back to the Volume 3 trailer, I kind of liked it better. And my reason for that is it felt like it was trying to really throw the series at you, hype you up, and get you excited, as to where this trailer just felt like one you would go in the movies and see. It really just kind of felt like that, as opposed to where that Volume 3 trailer just really set you up for a lot, it felt like. It felt like it was going to be fun, action-packed. It just felt like it was going to be great. And then this trailer is trying to throw a lot at you. And I've heard from some people that it's felt confusing to some of them. So, and I can get where they're coming from because it kind of can be a little confusing. So, the other thing is that the music, it made it feel like a movie trailer, as to where the Volume 3 one actually used Caffeine by Jeff Williams. That was good. I liked Volume 3's because it actually had music from Jeff Williams. That was great. It made it feel like it was trying to hype itself up, and that's what you want. This, I feel like I'm interested, but I feel distant at the same time. It's a weird feeling. But at the same time, I feel excitement as well. It's, I guess you could say, several different emotions at one time, if that makes sense. But overall, this trailer was okay. I mean, it's fine. And I just feel like it wasn't as good as when Volume 3 had its trailer come out. I feel like Volume 3's trailer really gave you the hype. It felt like it was throwing something at you. This trailer feels like it's throwing something at you, but it feels like it's a mixed bag of emotions, if that makes sense. But overall, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was good. It wasn't terrible. It was at least passable, and hopefully this volume will make up for the previous two and the problems that they had. So we'll just have to see where that goes. I hope that the action choreography has improved. I hope it looks a lot better. We got a slight dose of it, but before I form an opinion, I really want to see at least a few fights first before I really form a full opinion on it, if that makes sense. But let me know what you all thought about this trailer down below. Were you hyped up? Were you excited? Did it just kind of feel weird to you? Let me know down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.